Hi everyone, this is the West, Part 2, and we're talking about the American Southwest. So let's follow along with this first slide. You have one page of guided notes, Part 2, and I want you guys to note the states that are this region. So today, guys, American Southwest, what that region is once had belonged to Spain's empire. Okay, so California, New Mexico, Arizona. And so after Mexico won its independence from Spain, this region became the northern territories of the Republic of Mexico. Guys, next in the history is the war with Mexico. So U.S. actually defeats Mexico in 1848 and takes control of that region. It acquires the Spanish-speaking population living there. And according to this treaty, guys, of Guadalupe Hidalgo, very important, guys, that treaty specified that the region's residents, you guys can put down, can retain their property rights, right? That's very important. They won't lose their land. And also, guys, these Hispanic peoples will become American citizens. So this slide kind of shows you the land that, Mexico first got from Spain and then we got from Mexico. So next to your bullet for the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, guys, please note which states we're talking about in terms of the land that we acquire in this treaty. And so, guys, when Spain first came here, they started this mission system, run by the church. So put down for the Spanish mission system that in the late 1700s, they tried to Christianize these native peoples. And they would build pueblos or large towns. And you guys should note that Los Angeles today once started as a pueblo from the Spanish. This system, this church-run system, guys, did collapse by the early 1800s. But here's a picture of a mission. And so once that Spanish mission system failed, in its place a society took over, and it was dominated by a land-holding elite. Kind of like our planter class from the South. But this land-holding elite owned thousands of acres. And I want you guys to put down that their huge ranches were called haciendas. Here's how you spell it. And I gave you guys a few pictures, of how wealthy and beautiful these were. So this should really give you a picture of the wealth of these Hispanic land-holding elite. Next bullet, guys, is the gold rush. Drastically changed things. You guys should remember the 49ers going to California. And you guys should note that California quickly explodes in population, and soon, guys, Hispanics are vastly outnumbered. So the original Hispanic population in California, you guys, did have political rights. They also could serve in state and local offices. As more white settlers came, though, they were kind of forced into lower paying jobs. And Hispanics soon began to lose their land to these settlers. So what would happen, guys, is there'd be these claims that often dated back to the Spanish Empire grants. So they were hundreds of years old. And so when ownership was disputed between English and Hispanic, you guys can put down that American courts frequently found that old grants were insufficient proof. And so they would often allow the English settlers to stake claim to this land. So basically they're taking land illegally from the Hispanic peoples. Next bullet, guys, is the cattle boom. So we already learned about the ranchers from part 1, but this also had a huge impact on the Hispanics. So they had Hispanics had long worked as vaqueros. So I want you to spell that under your bullet for cattle boom. So vaqueros were Spanish cowboys. And so next bullet, guys, is they taught American cowboys their trade. They taught tools and techniques for managing cattle. They actually enriched, our language with words of Spanish origin. You guys can put down the lariat, the lasso, and the stampede. All came from the vaqueros. And so, guys, your next bullet is that English-speaking ranchers would try to, claim these tracts of land that the Hispanics once owned, because the demand for beef had increased and they wanted to take over this land. And so one instance of the Hispanic population fighting back would be the Los Gorras Blancas, or the Whitecaps. So guys, they were a group that would raid the ranches, tear down fences, burn down barns and houses. So they really fought back. Here's a great political cartoon. They're fighting back against injustice, taking down this barbed wire that is taking their land away from them. Okay, one place that really retains its Hispanic majority is New Mexico. So under that bullet for Hispanics in New Mexico, you guys want to put down that they, stayed influential in public affairs. They remained the majority both in population and in their territorial legislature. So, California and Texas, lost out, but New Mexico stayed strong. Hispanics even were as delegates to the Congress. So New Mexico definitely stays strong in Hispanic population and in government. And guys, the population in the Southwest really swelled with railroads and with mining, attracting all kinds of immigrants, even from Mexico. And so many of the Spanish-speaking peoples would live in these neighborhoods called barrios. So please spell this here under that last bullet. So they're Spanish-speaking neighborhoods. So guys, examples would be Los Angeles. I have, part of a barrio today in LA. Here is some pictures of the history of a barrio in Texas. But put down, guys, that there were Spanish-speaking businesses there, right? Their newspapers were Spanish, so they really helped keep their cultural and religious traditions alive. Alright guys, that is the conclusion of part 2. I gave you a nice short one today. We'll do a little longer one tomorrow on the clash between farmers and the Native Americans. This is Mrs. Tevis-Finn signing off. Happy Spirit Week.